Hello everyone, it's Miss Angelic, Truth and Integrity Warrior. Today I wanted to go over a subject of not feeling like we're enough. We never really think of that consciously, but it's something that limits us and we don't recognize it's happening. We don't recognize it's there. So when we bring it to the forefront of our mind, we can take a moment and recognize what that's connected to and how it's hindering us from being able to move forward in our life. And the blocks that it creates. We can break down these mental blocks, recognizing that not being enough in some way, or I should say, the subconscious thinking that it's not enough, because we don't ever think that that would be an issue. It's not something that we think of being a problem, but it's there. It came out I'll explain what happened to me, my situation of not enough, because there's a lot of different not enoughs out there. It's going to be not enough because you weren't your parents or somebody who raised you, or listening as a child that you will never be anything, that you'll always be a piece of shit, that you'll never accomplish anything, that what you do is not good enough. You hear that enough times as a kid, you will believe that as an adult, and subconsciously whatever efforts you do, you'll never think it's good enough, and so it'll make you feel worthless. And that lack of self-worth breaks the individual's confidence down. And for other individuals, not being enough would be, I'm not enough because I have to overachieve, because I gotta not be who I am, because our parents didn't like who they were, be it in poverty. I'll give an example. And so they don't want their children to go through that poverty that they endured, that lack of lifestyle that they endured. So they want their children to be overachievers. And so the child is pressured to be enough, more than enough. Got to overachieve. Enough is not enough, I should say. I should say it that way. And so that child grows up with, I can't get enough done because enough is not enough. I got to do more, and that person will put more on their plate that they can handle, and they're being pulled in every direction. They say yes to everything because they got to achieve more than enough. They got to do more than that. They got to overachieve, and so they got to have more businesses. They got to have more things on their schedule. They got to do more, but it's because their parents wanted more and was trying to live out through their child to make sure that their child grew up to be more than they were. And that kind of pressure of not being enough or not being able to give enough will play out in an individual as an adult. And they will have more on their plate that they can handle, and their mind will want to break, and they won't understand why they can't say no. Why they can't say, I'm not going to invest in another business, or I'm not going to invest in another project, or I'm not going to invest in somebody else's time for what their needs are. I got to take care of me, myself, my needs. I'm going to take care of project number one right here, not projects outside of myself. I don't need a business to show me who I am, because it's not my self-worth that's in that business. And that business is taking up my time, and so the self-worth has to be in here. The business has to be right here, instead of having 15 businesses going all at the same time and not being able to manage them all. I'm exaggerating on the numbers, but you get my drift. Because the expression is as if I have more, I am more, instead of I gotta find out how to be enough. Why do I feel like I am not enough? And it's usually because parents, again, will show that the more you have in material is what makes you show that you have value, instead of value and self-worth, and recognizing that it's not what I have that makes me enough, is what I have is who I am. And so putting that investment in who am I, what do I have in me as a human being, what do I have that signifies worthiness, gratitude, accomplishments in who I'm trying to build as a person. We don't get built as people, as little people, little kids. We don't get classes on self-worth, self-development, self-awareness, self-analysis, self-reflection. So there's no work on self. It's everything is exterior. So those are different circumstances of someone not feeling like they're enough. And as far as for me, I'll tell you what happened to me. I just had to be under pressure to recognize that I had a feeling that I wasn't enough. But it only came out through pressure because I was like, what the fuck is this feeling? And of course I was crying, crying my fucking eyes out, losing my shit, not understanding where this feeling came from. I'd already gotten over David, had already processed this, had processed that emotion, processed so many emotions. What is this fucking feeling that I have? And I'll tell you about that right now. So what was my experience to put me under so much pressure that I had to find out what this emotion was? Because it's an emotion, when we get emotional about something, it might be something that happens in the exterior, but it's the interior we've got to pay attention to, of what that outside source is making us feel on the inside. And so because I've practiced this so much in my life, in my lifestyle, that's how I check myself. That's how I check my shit. That's how I organize myself so that my emotions can be balanced and I'm not causing an effect outside of myself that's from my own bullshit that I haven't taken care of and putting it on somebody else. So it's taking that responsibility, right? And so because I do this process and I recognize this is how it works, I'm being able to check your own shit, be responsible for what you can do to make a change in your life. That's part of the process. And so as I'm going through this process, I got this emotion, but I can't figure out why I'm fucking bawling, why I'm crying so deeply. Where does this frustration fucking lie, right? Because it was like a deep frustration. It was like I can't take it. And I didn't know what it is that I couldn't take, right? I couldn't pinpoint it. And that's why I say that we don't recognize that we all have these lacks, or I shouldn't say lacks, that we have these feelings of not being enough in some kind of way. Meaning we don't feel self-worth, we don't have enough worth within us, and so we don't feel we are enough to be good enough for someone or for something. Or we overachieve because we were told that you have to keep pushing and enough is not enough. And so you never stop giving and putting your energy in so many different places that you spread yourself so thin. You're everywhere and nowhere at the same time, and sad because you're spread so thin and you can't do all of these projects or do all these things, these people pleasing for everybody and telling everybody yes when you just really want to say no. You want to say no, but you can't. So those are feelings of not being enough, right? Two different types. And this feeling that I had of not being enough was kind of like in the middle. It really wasn't, I'm not enough because somebody told me I wasn't growing up as a kid. That really wasn't my problem. I was told I was fat and ugly for so much time in my life that I believed that shit. But that's a whole nother video about self-esteem in another show. But this also wasn't because I was set as an overachiever. I never had anybody busting my balls or, busting my ass. And then, I can't find the words. Pushing me to overachieve out of stress of never going to make it, so you have to keep pushing. Never going to make it, so you have to keep pushing. You got to be the best, so keep pushing. And your best is never good enough, even though you keep pushing. I never got that. So I couldn't figure out where this feeling fucking was because it wasn't any of those two. But when I screamed out, because that's kind of pressure, I guess that's how I process my emotions through pressure. And I'm loud. I'm really loud about it. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being loud about it. And in that, I screamed out, I can never do enough to make a change in my life. Because I'm always working hard, but I see no fucking results. It's like fucking going to work and not getting paid. That's what I felt, right? It felt like I'm fucking working so hard and I'm not getting fucking paid. I did a video about that feeling back in 2019, and here I am reminiscing it again but on another level. So once I processed that emotion in 2019 of, not being enough, now it's a different level of not being enough because I'm on a different stage in my life, because I've grown from 2019 to 2021. So emotions, even though we've processed them and we think we've already been there, done that, we gotta go revisit them sometimes because that motherfucker got a lot of layers. It's got like levels in the game, You're still, like Mario, he's still running across that screen, but he's on another level and he's still trying to get a prize. He's trying to level up all the time. So it's kind of like that process. So as I'm experiencing this, I'm like, shit, I've already fucking been here of not being enough. How am I feeling like this right now? Why am I feeling like this? And so I just let it out and let it scream out. And it comes out so clearly, like my own audio, to hear what the fuckery is in the subconscious that I gotta put on a table and say, I gotta fix this shit. I gotta balance this shit out because it's keeping me from fucking succeeding in life, from succeeding. This is for me, this is personal, right? And so I have worked so hard to try to create a brand and try to sell it and put it on Amazon, and found out that I had to learn to do all these things, right? First, I had to learn to do all these things that I didn't know how to do. I didn't know how to work a camera. I didn't know how to edit. I mean, literally, I didn't know how to do any of these things back in 2019. But I had to change my life, because my life had changed so extremely, which would be another video for another episode. But that I had to change so dramatically that I had to learn everything from fucking scratch. Like a fucking little kid, like in kindergarten to go to 12th grade, right? And so finally I'm up in 12th grade because I had to start from scratch from kindergarten. How to start this social media, how to present a product on social media, how to get it onto an Amazon platform, how to sell it. Then I found out that if you're not good at marketing, it don't matter if you got gold, nobody will know its value. Nobody will know its value because you don't know how to fucking market it. So now I'm in the marketing stage of my process, and I just had a fucking breakdown. Just like I'm just always fucking. I feel like I'm fucking digging a tunnel with my hands. I don't even got fucking tools. Put it that way. I don't even feel like I got the power of tools. I feel like I gotta do this shit with my fucking hands. And I say it like that because that's how it fucking feels. It's hard to do this shit when you have to do something new that you've never done before so that you can live. So you can fucking live. So I have this fucking breakdown is no matter what the fuck I do, no matter how much I fucking learn, no matter how much I fucking apply, I can't sell a fucking thing. I can't fucking sell. And I've had to come to this fucking realization. I mean, as of lately, right? I'm talking about like now. I mean, I'm living this. As we're talking, I'm living this shit right now, right? And so this fucking feeling of, I'm never going to get to the other side of that fucking tunnel, right? It's like, fuck. Never going to get to the other fucking side because it feels like fucking forever. Shit, I'm processing right now. Don't fucking cry. I got a lot of makeup on. Don't cry. Don't cry. Come on. So what I had to realize, what I had to process was I gotta accept that I might not have gained any monetary value for all the fucking nights that I put in, all the early mornings that I wake up, all the not having any money to show for all the fucking efforts that I've been putting in to try to make this brand happen. And the products I have in it, and not being able to move them. I had to say, what can I fucking pull out of there that makes me fucking feel whole? Where's any worth in that fucking labor? Where is it? Because I can't fucking see it. I can't fucking see it. And I'm not complaining. I'm not fucking complaining about how I live. Because I have grown out of poverty into being comfortable and happy. Because I've learned to be happy and comfortable knowing that I have a roof, I have water, I have my health and my family. Fuck the rest. I don't care if the fucking lights go out. Been there, done that. I got those things, I'm fucking good. That's a whole nother process for another show. But I'm good. And so I'm grateful where I'm at. But it's all of my fucking labor and having to learn to do things fucking new. And not seeing anything come back. Nothing come back. Because me making this brand is so that I can make money. And so I could take care of my family, right? So I can get out of this dip. This fucking dip. So I can go up. So I had to find whatever I could, like in all my other circumstances, where's the fucking gold in all of this shit? Right? Where is it? And in that process, I had to fucking recognize what I learned, who I became, the new knowledge that I have, the fucking unbelievable ability to create something brand new from scratch. Like I had to learn to make the flyers, I had to learn to use the programs to make design. I had to learn to make labels for my products. I had to learn so many fucking things from scratch because I can't go pay somebody to get it done. And then that whole process, I didn't even know what I needed to get done to get me to that next step with my product, right? Or a product in my brand. But looking back after that cry, let me tell you, after that cry, I had to look back and say, what do I pull out of there? What do I have that I could utilize so that I could let go of what I don't have and what it's cost me and what did I get out of it? And what I got is I'm a bad motherfucker. I'm a bad fucking bitch, I'm gonna tell you. Because now I know how to edit. Now I know how to create design. Now I know what I need to get a product across borders. Now I know business. Now I know taxes. Now I know so much fucking shit I didn't know before that it makes me ready. Makes me fucking ready for this next step in my life. Because I have the confidence that I know what I have is good. And it's going to make a difference. Because it's made a difference in my life. But it's the knowing that all that fucking effort wasn't for nothing. I had to come to that realization because I never brought it to my mind. I couldn't even see it. All I could see was my lack. All I could see was everything I don't have, and that was money, right? I don't have no fucking money. I keep working and no money. I keep working and no money. That's a fucking problem. That shit don't go together. It doesn't. But I had to see, I must labor. I must break through that fucking tunnel that's never been made before. Not for me anyways, right? Not for me. Not for my life. I didn't have something structured for me that I just jump into. I had to create from the ground up or from the ground through. So at the end of this tunnel, I see the light. Because I took my focus off of I don't have money and to look at everything that I have fucking done. Look at everything I've created. And now I've gotten to the point where I've created it so much so that it's just ready to go. But I didn't know I had that block in me. I was stuck. I was stuck in my own shit. And my shit was, I don't have. And I turned it into, look at what I've created. Because I didn't have. And so it's changing our perspective. If we don't change how our mind is thinking one way, we cannot change it into another way until we change how we feel. So what I'm saying here is take what we feel, accept it. This is this motherfucker. Now, if you don't know what it is, ask it. What is this fucking feeling? I guarantee you it'll come out your mouth. And when you hear it, grab that motherfucker and accept it. And say, I accept you so I can get fucking rid of you. So I can get fucking rid of you. You cannot get rid of what you can't see and what you don't accept. So once we accept it, it's like, boom, I'm done. Because now that I accept it, I see it. And if I catch myself back into that state of mind or into that state of thinking or into that state of doing, I
change it because I recognize that motherfucker's there. And I won't let it bite me in my ass again. You know, I won't let it happen because I already acknowledged it. But at the same time, in acknowledgement, you gotta put that motherfucker in the waste basket. That state of mind in the fucking trash, just like we do a computer. We take a file, that gotta go in the trash because as long as it's there, it'll still taking a space, you know? That motherfucker's taking up valuable space, and that's what happens. Our mind is taking up our bad thoughts, our negative thoughts, our fucking chatter, our whatever it is that we had to go through as children, whatever we heard as a recording, we're living off of that. We're living off of it as adults, but because we don't acknowledge it and accept it, we can't fucking throw that motherfucker away. You know, you can't put it in the trash. So when you do that, you catch it, let that motherfucker go. Come to learn that I'm just enough. I ain't gotta be more than enough. I ain't gotta think I'm not enough. I just gotta be just enough to make a fucking difference in my life. And that's enough. Not anybody else's life. Just my life. And accepting that I'm just enough, it's never too much, it's never too little. It's just enough. And it's just enough to make a fucking difference in this world. Remember that. I'm Angelic, Truth and Integrity Warrior. And I'm just